What's up, gang? It's your boy Tyler, and I'm back with another review. Thank you for watching the most trash show on YouTube, Garage Goons. Let me adjust my camera real quick because I'm realizing that it's kind of crooked. All right, hopefully that looks a little less cockeyed. But today I want to review a new item that I recently picked up, and that's going to be the Contender Fight Sports elbow pad slash knee pad. Now, the reason I say slash knee pad is because I found out one of my guys that also has these pads bought the medium size knee pad, and they actually it's the same thing as the XL elbow pad. Okay, so just keep that in mind. They don't really make the knee pads different than the elbow pads. It's just the XL elbow pad is also like the medium-sized knee pad. Just so you know, you're getting the same exact thing. It's not different at all size-wise. Now, these elbow pads are super protective. These are gel elbow pads, is how they're advertised, and you can definitely feel that in them. If you feel this, I would say it feels like a very dense bag glove, okay? But it has like almost, rather than like a dense foam construction, it's like more of a gel foam construction, okay? So it's springy enough because of the density, but you can definitely feel some sinking in. And I'll talk about my experience and my use for them. My light's fucking up already. So basically, I've used these in sparring. I've used these in training. Just a little bit about me. I started in Taekwondo when I was a kid. Then I went into every other sport you can imagine. Football being one of them. I tore my ACL in college. Lost all this weight due to muscle atrophy and lack of activity after I tore my ACL, and I was recovering from surgery. So I didn't feel like taking steroids and trying to get back to the next season and gaining all the weight back because it was so hard for me to put on weight anyways, and I was already undersized for my position. So I got back into martial arts, my first love. And I competed in MMA between like 2011 and 2013, 2 times. And then I kind of moved on from that, started working and just lifting weights and being a meathead. And now I coach and train and compete in full contact Muay Thai, okay? Amateur. So elbows are tricky in sparring because some gyms, a lot of gyms don't like train elbows because in like amateur MMA, for example, you can't throw elbows at all. And then in point Muay Thai or PKB, point kickboxing, no elbows at all. And even in the amateur Muay Thai scene, because people are used to that point Muay Thai format, which is you're allowed to clinch and throw knees, but not to the head, but no elbows. A lot of people say, I'll do a full contact Muay Thai fight, but it's called hybrid rules, or like my last fight was hybrid rules, no elbows, okay? So, but this next fight I have, November 30th, coming up, is full contact, everything goes except for knees to the head. That's reserved for the pros, but elbows are a go. You have to wear elbow pads, and the only way to train elbows is to throw them, right? Is to spar with them. So I got these pads because I thought they would be the most protective ones. They are very protective, and I'll put them on for you. Guys, I made the mistake of assuming a lot of Muay Thai gear is made in Thailand for Thai people, by Thai people, and they're smaller than Americans. Like the average Thai is way smaller, way lighter, way shorter than the average American. So when they say XL, it feels more like a large or even a medium to us. So I ordered the XL, and I probably should have gone large. Because if you watch, look how much, for reference, I'm 6'1", okay? And my reach, like this way, is exactly the same as my height, 6'1", okay? And these elbow pads like go all the way, like basically when I'm wearing my boxing gloves, it's all sleeve from the bottom of the cuff of the glove, right? And also, I think I overestimated my guns, man, because I get a little bit of slack in there. I thought I was, buffer than I was. I haven't measured my biceps in a while. Okay. When I was lifting, I think the biggest I ever got them was, I think my right was like 16 and my left was like 15 and a half. But I digress. I've just been training Muay Thai and I haven't been lifting because I only have time to go dedicate my life to one thing right now, and that's going to be Muay Thai because I have a fight coming up. And they're not going anywhere. Like they will slide off if I pull on them, but like when I'm fighting and I'm sparring and I'm using these, they're throwing punches. They're not sliding around. They're not shifting on me. They stay in place pretty well. It's basically just a neoprene style kind of like band, and it's sewed in, I don't know if this translates, I'll show you on camera, but it's sewed in this cross pattern here, okay? So you got some sewing coming all the way down the middle where they looped the cuff. There is a seam on the inside, okay, which I don't feel when I use personally, but and then they sew across the middle where your joint is, right? So let's talk some pros and cons. The pros of this one is it did what I thought it would be, which is like this is the most forgiving, nice elbow pad that you can use on your sparring partners. You don't want to be hurting your sparring partners. You don't want to be leaving, rashes on the face. Most guys in my gym use Velcro gloves because it is a Muay Thai gym. So you probably can see that. I get Velcro burn on my arms and my face and all kinds of stuff all the time from sparring. It just is a fact of life, man. Nobody tapes up their Velcro gloves, and then lace-ups are a hassle because then someone's got to tie them for you, and then, it's a Muay Thai gym. In a boxing gym, almost everyone always has lace-ups and has none of those problems, but then everyone's always tying each other's gloves up, right? So we just like Muay Thai, we like the easy use. You slip them on, you put the Velcro on, boom, you're ready to go, right? But anyways, this is really great for being easy and the nicest elbow pad that I've seen on your sparring partners. Now, I will note that this is my arm fully outstretched here. There's like a good 2.5, maybe 3 inches of where this extends. Now, that's a good and a bad thing, right? Because it's easier on your sparring partners. However, if you throw a slashing elbow, right? Let's say it's not a brute force, like you're in the clinch and you want to bring that elbow in and crush the face with it. Maybe you want to do one of these numbers and kind of like take that slashing motion. This will give you a false sense of range, okay? Because you'll make contact with somebody with the slashing elbow and think that's a good one, but in all reality, your elbow is missing by 2-3 inches, so you're throwing it just short. So I don't know that it teaches you bad habits, but that's just something to be aware of when you're using it, because if you throw a lot of slashing elbows and you don't make good contact with them, you just kind of graze your partner, that's in reality, that's going to be a missed elbow thrown, right? So that's something to be aware of. The other thing I noticed is that because of the neoprene and this pad it bends well enough, but it's so thick that it doesn't bend as well as other things that maybe have like a hinge point or a smaller pad that's easier to bend. So when I throw my punches, it springs out nice because this neoprene kind of like feels like it's giving you a little extra pop, right? But bringing it back, I can feel tension right now on my bicep holding my arms. And if you're a guy that gets lazy, that has your arms down and stuff, and it naturally is going to make your arm want to do this, it's not the best. You know what I mean? I feel like they could improve this if they made like a hole right here, like the way that they have like the holes in the back of the ankle supports, right? for your heel to come through. I think if they made a hole here instead of just cutting a whole seam, I think that would give you a little bit more dexterity and flexibility as far as just a natural position. Because right now, it's just not, like, I don't think about it when I'm sparring, but it's not comfortable just holding my hands up here with this, okay? This is comfortable, this not so much, okay? I can feel the seam against my joint here, and that's because I'm putting the tension on it here. So when I take this off, it's hard to see, but it will leave a line here, you know? So that's something to be aware about, because there's really, you know, this will bend, and it does kind of have a natural hinge point. However, it's not the most... It's just a lot of padding. So anytime you have a lot of padding, I mean, think about boxing gloves. The ones that have so much padding over the fist that it's hard to open and parry shots all the way. It's a similar thing with these ones where you can't, it's less forgiving. You know what I mean? So that's something to be aware about. Now these, I believe I spent on Amazon $30 for the pair. Okay, so as far as I can tell, I don't really think that there's a left or a right. Well, I guess maybe having this Contender Fight Sports being on the outside, I think that's the right way. So it should be the outside. This would be the right one if it's on the outside, okay? If you extend your arm straight out and you see this symbol on the outside, I believe that's indicative of which arm it should be on. But it's not very clear, and there's no labeling on this anywhere, okay? This is, it says made in India, okay? So not a Thai-made product, not a Chinese-made product. Let's get into the build. You can see some sloppy execution here and to their credit, it is in the same area on both of them, but the piping that comes around here is kind of lazily done, and you can already see it. That's just manufacturer, like how it came out. The piping here, you can see where it's overlapped, and it's kind of like, I don't think that's going to be an issue. It might end up, you know, causing some, like if you miss an elbow and you get this end of where the piping is kind of like lazily kind of laid over and not so down the best, it could maybe scrape someone's eye, cause an eye abrasion, cause a scrape on the face. That's not good. But I would say overall, I'm getting good training with these. And when I spar, so far I haven't scraped anyone. I've had these for about 3 weeks now. So I can't speak to the durability, but it's pretty simply designed. Like, I don't really see this breaking down. I could see maybe if my arms were buffer, the neoprene stretching out over a period of time. But like I said, it's kind of a little bit loose on me, so I don't think I'm going to be stretching it out too much. You know, are they comfortable? Yes, but I've worn more comfortable elbow pads. But it's like anything else, okay? If it feels like less, okay, it's probably going to be more comfortable, but it's going to be less protective. So if you have a smaller boxing glove, as far as like padding over the knuckles, yeah, it's going to be more comfortable to open and close and move your hand around and stuff. But when you hit somebody with it, it's going to be less knuckle support for you and less, you know, cushion for their face or whatever striking surface that's getting hit, right? So it's kind of a give and take. I think they're worth it, and I think this is, if you're trying to learn elbows, I would say that definitely get with your coach and work naked elbows, like no pads, no coverings on the Thai pads, okay? So when you spar, I wouldn't say only rely on sparring with these to gain experience. I would say work elbows on Thai pads as well, so you don't get comfortable with this extra 3 inches of cushion here. See that? That's not helping you gauge range accurately, okay? And like I said, these are also the knee pads they provide. So if you're a smaller guy, and you bought medium knee pads, they're actually the XL elbow pads, same fucking shit. Okay? So yeah, my fight's coming up the 30th. I feel way more confident with elbows. I know elbows a big part of Thai boxing and Muay Thai in general. So I needed to be experienced in that department, and I had basically none outside of just like working them on the bag for fun sometimes. But we've really been focusing on that, especially in the clinch. Instead of when I get my Thai plum, getting my knees off, but instead of just a clean break or a punch or a push off out of the clinch, I'm starting to open up my clinch with one hand, keep one Thai plum here, and bring my elbow to my hand through the face. So we've been working that a lot. I have been working some kind of like free range, if you will, elbow strikes. I'm not the greatest with that, especially the stabbing stuff. I'm so bad at this. Okay, I'm all right at this, and I'm good at the kind of like the butterfly kind of overhand motion elbows, but this stuff, stepping in with that, I'm just trash. And also it has to do with my lack of dexterity in my shoulders that are always really tight. Okay, but these are I think well made. There are some stitching here. I think that's to try to get this rounded bulbous shape on here, and also provide you with a little bit of like that natural bend that happens in your arm. Okay. But this stitching is actually done really well here, and I haven't scraped up or anything any of my partners. Okay. These are really popular. I see these all over in Muay Thai. I think because again they're very protective, so even if you land a really hard elbow in sparring, which I don't recommend trying to land a really hard elbow on your sparring partners, but it does happen. Sometimes guys just duck into stuff, and just, hard shots do happen in sparring, even if it's light sparring. Once in a while, one will slip through, a guy will duck into a shot, so it makes the impact twice as hard. Things like that. But this hasn't scraped up anybody, and it's been pretty good for me. I don't think this is the best elbow pad out there, but I think for the money, especially for beginners, because the last thing you want to do is hurt yourself or your training partners. I think this is good because this provides a lot, like absolute overkill on protection. So when I buy elbow pads for the future, I'm going to buy something a little less bulbous and just fat and big, I'm probably going to buy something a little bit more streamlined, but I still want to have a nice round cushion right here. So maybe something that looks more like almost like a skateboard elbow pad, where it's just kind of all over the elbow as far as the protection. You know what I mean? Instead of like this big fucking thing that looks like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shell, right? Just maybe something a little bit more just over the elbow. But these are fine. These are good. I think for the money, $30. It's not made in China. It's made in India. So whatever that's worth, I think that's pretty cool. And yeah, man, stay tuned. I'm going to be posting more fight stuff. I haven't done Cologne stuff in a while because to be honest, man, nothing's really come out that's grabbed me lately, and I'm happy with my collection right now. I always say that, and then I end up picking something up like a month later, but I just haven't bought Cologne in a while, and the weather's getting cold, so I'm wearing like more like heavy fragrances, and it's like I have way more interest in like fresh summer stuff. And I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining right now. So, yeah, I'm going to be focused more on fights. I have my fight coming up November 30th. We have other guys fighting December 6th. So, lots of stuff happening with Kraken/RFA Muay Thai. And, yeah, so that's my review on the Contender Fight Sports elbow/knee pads. All right? If you have any questions, like, comment, subscribe, hit me in the comments, talk to me, baby, I talk back. And thank you once again for watching the most trash show on YouTube, Garage Goons, and we are out of this bitch.